say, God proves everything. If something, a miracle is going to happen, or somebody has a vision, or somebody has done a tarot reading, the universe or angel has helped this person to see that, give you this. And like I say, it manifests, and it's like, okay, prove this to me. In your dreams, you get shown really magical things. Write it down and go, okay, prove this to me. And the universe will do that. It will manifest and make many things happen. And that's to help you to understand and go deeper in your belief that you're a part of all of that. You can be bigger or more than you assume you are. And with Cindy, whenever she gets nervous, there's energy changes, and like she starts wanting to go places, her brain starts doing stuff, and it's like, it's a pattern. And like I say, she's becoming more and more conscious and aware of everything.
I like what you just said there. And you could totally miss it, because I almost did, right? Where it's like, ask to go deeper in your belief. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, wait a second. What does that mean? Like, what is my belief here in this energy that I'm feeling? How do I go deeper in that? And I'm like, I don't know, but there's this question of, teach me how to go deeper in my belief. I caught that. Joe says things that are almost easy to miss, and they're these like really big thoughts. That's big to me.
Yeah, because the natives, like I say, every time you go into a ceremony, the first thing they're going to tell you to do is welcome in grandmothers or grandfathers, like anything that's going to love or doctor, heal, or help you. So when we're in the Sundance, we're in the sweat lodges, we're in night lodges, anything, it's like right away, it's the first thing we always say is welcome in, because it's an unknown, and everybody has to learn their language, has to learn their angels, have to learn their whatever is going to transpire, change, come through. It all has to come in, and the more you welcome it, the quicker things get. Like I say, they do little things to see if you're going to get excited or scared. If you get scared, they pull away a bit, because they're really not trying to make you afraid. They're trying to help you develop a bigger concept, because your mind has to expand, your energy inside has to expand. There's so many kinds of things that have to go on to facilitate and hold all these different things, because it's also changing you. Everything in your DNA, your cells, and everything is altering. Things are expanding, so you can work with the universal creative force and help this planet. And how big are you going to become? You won't know until you're there in all the energy.
Right. Then that part about releasing the agendas of the outcome, why we do the things we do, why we're asking for the things that we're asking for, and our desires to learn and understand things. There's something about, it's kind of like the human condition of having an agenda of what am I going to get out of this, and what I believe the result might be. How do we let go of that?
So Ian and Cindy and sort of three of us are conspiring here and looking at something like Ian put out is why don't you do a 3-month course, like maybe every 2 weeks? Like, say, maybe take the Barbara Brennan books and pick out certain pages for a person to work with, and spend an hour every 2 weeks to help a person develop, read the books, work with it, connect. And so we've been talking about that. And then I was bringing up a lot of other books, a lot of other kinds of things that have much information, and even stuff that has to do with the future. And it's like, okay, I've spent my whole life saying these kinds of things. Now it's like actually making this. So it's like, I'm going to go back and reread all 3 books again. So I can actually find the pages I feel is important if I'm going to teach, and take some of those pages, but use the things I understand and try to open it a little bigger to help people. Because biggest thing, it starts with a belief. You have to have some kind of belief. If you don't have a belief, you won't go in a certain direction. You won't go or participate in something. So belief has to be something, a core value inside you. You're believing something. There's something the universe is going to prove to you. Like you're a little innocent child who doesn't have this information. So you're going to seek out a teacher. You find the teacher. A lot of people will just seek me out, and I will say things to them, and they hear certain things, and then after a while they're like, oh, I already know that. I'm like, if you already know that, then why did you come to me? There must be something you don't know about it. And somewhere maybe I'm going to teach you that or give you an answer, or something's going to change in the way you see or think or you believe. Are you willing to let go of your beliefs and maybe expand yourself, like pulling elastic a little further out and just stretching yourself? And it feels scary because you want to shrink back to that comfortable, but every now and then you pull it out and you're stretching and holding, and you're trying to expand, and how much you believe, because the universe will expand it. And they do everything. Everything is always streaming in. There's billions and billions of things. What do you want to pull in today? What do you want to really create? Because if you really sit with the creator and you really sit with things, you're just going to receive answers, be shown things. Magic just happens. And in the end, you're going to go, where did this come from? I've been doing that all my life. It's like, wow, how did this happen? Where did it come from? Because I didn't have an agenda. I didn't specifically tell the universe, well, I want this and I want that. I just prayed every day. I just want to be Muscapios. I want to serve the light. I want to do this. And I'd read and study things, and I'd ponder and question those things. And I just go through my day. And one day I'm sitting there and I close my eyes, and then all of a sudden something opens up, and I'm just in this big energy. And it's sometimes it was very, very scary because I didn't understand. It was all new. It was like when I went to the Sundance, first time ever, I went to a Sundance singing, and the elders brought me. They didn't tell me anything about what we were going to do. They just said, jump in the van. We're going to go someplace. And I'm like, it's 7:00 at night. Where are we going to head? I didn't really know Edmonton or the surrounding parts of Edmonton. I jump in this van with these strange elders, and all of a sudden they're flying down this highway. I don't know which one. We're just going. And then they're going through back roads and all kinds of stuff. And we pull out at this big meadow. And I get out and I look around and I'm like, okay, why are we here? It's like, there's just grass. There's nobody. I'm looking around and they're still not telling me anything. And the elder, he tells me, you just go over there. Don't worry about it. He says, lay in the grass, look at the stars, or do something. Just whatever you need to do with your time. And I felt this draw, so I went to this one area and I laid down. The grass was really high. I had cigarettes and smoking, and asking the universe questions, staring at the stars. And this elder said, when's the time we're going to call you? So I'm laying there, and things are going through me. All of a sudden I hear the voice say, okay, it's time. Come. So I get up and I stand, and there's this big tent, big giant tent, and there's trucks and people everywhere. And I was like, where was I? Because I didn't hear anything. And the time, I don't know how the time lapsed from here to here, but all of a sudden there was this big giant tent. There was people, and we went into that and we started the ceremony, the Sundance singing. And there was this really old elder, and he had long white hair, like really long. And he was this little guy, and he was the leader. And so he was there, and one side is all the men, one side is the woman, and then there's what they call the Muscapios, the servants, and they're all in the center, and there's pots of food, and there's people burning smudge, there's a buffalo skin on the ground, and anybody that doesn't have a drum can go up there and just hit the skin and sing and whatever. So all of this stuff went on, and it went till about 3 a.m, and this energy came in. And it filled me, and it felt so amazing. And the elders knew something was going on with me, but they couldn't feel the energy. And I'm like, wow, like this is really something big. And it stayed with me for a month. And after a period of time, my brain wanted to get afraid, even though how good it felt. It was so overpowering, and I don't know where it came from. So I went to elders and I asked questions, and none of them could give me answers. None of them could explain this. And after it was over and I disconnected from it and sat with it for quite a while, I realized it was something really big. But like I said, I didn't ask for anything. It just came out of nowhere and came into me. And I've had so many of these kinds of experiences, and I believe there's something way bigger with the universe that we have shut off and pushed aside. And somewhere I want to serve and I want to help people to open up and step back into that. So this is part of my searching my whole life, reading, studying, and doing so many things. Because I've always carried this belief inside me. There's always something I have questioned. There's always something I've searched and looked for. And I just know it's something really big. And then Zarina is saying the orbs coming in and this energy inside her and that, and it's like it just comes. It knows when. And if your belief is really big, it expands more. It does things. It transforms. So belief is such a powerful thing, and it's something I've carried inside me ever since I was a little boy. I had experiences that I believed, even when people in my community all said I was crazy, things like that. And I grew up, and I'm like, one day you're going to see this is all true. And no matter what anybody said, I would not stop believing. And I've done this throughout my whole life. Is there's something to believe in that's really important for the children and whoever's going into the future, because it's new. And we have to adjust into that energy, and we have to fit into it so we can work with it. But it also has its own knowledge and teaching. As it comes into you, you're just going to understand it, know. So where is your belief in it? Because if you get afraid, you're going to pull down. So the stronger your belief gets, the bigger it gets, and the more you will see things happen.
Not only afraid, but having the agenda too on what the energy is and what you're going to become or do with that energy when it comes in. Like if you have this belief or this thought that it's going to make you special or it's going to fulfill an agenda of a future dream of yours or something like that, it can shut it down too, right?
Yeah.
So
the vibrations are really important, and it's like I always tell people, if you get up here, don't come back down. It's like if you get up here, hold that energy, let people come up and match you. They can go back and be safe where they are, but stay where you are, because the universe lifts and holds you there and tries to expand and keep you there. But sometimes we have compassion and love, and it brings us down. We get stuck in this lower energy. Then we get around other people and other things, and it brings us back up, and we feel really good up here. And it's learning it's okay to stay up here. It's okay to allow this new, different energies to be, and ask it questions, because it's going to help you understand everything, and it is going to bring you everything. You can't see it, you can't understand it, but it will attract and it will bring everything.
So a couple questions that I've got in my head that you can ask the universe of is, teach me how to go deeper in my beliefs. Teach me how to stay in a higher energy when, my old programming would drop me lower. Teach me how to stay in a higher vibration.
But a new one too is how to see. How do I see? Because everybody sees a little different for reasons, because you're meant to attract people and teach them, and they're in the same kind of vibration as you, and they're trying to understand how to see.
Teach me how I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's like Cindy has been in my life, and she tries to see her way, but the universe is expanding an energy around her. I already see. So she needs to get them to show her how to see, because this energy is there. And things keep coming in, and it shuts off, and it turns on, and it shuts off, and these different things. And it's like, so how do I see? It's really important for her to ask that, for it to be activated, so she can start understanding. Because I share a lot of stuff, and sometimes I give her glimpses and show her things. It's like some days she is like, am I reading your mind, or are you reading my mind? Because she thinks something and I'm already talking about it. And she's like, did I just read your mind, or are you tapped in reading mine? So they're trying to teach her things, and they're trying to help her to see. Or sometimes I'm going to see something and I'm going to glimpse it, and she sees it. And a lot of times I don't say things because she opens up and it's already there. And so they're trying to help her to see, but she's trying to, in her human mind, see what she thinks. And that has to sort of go over here a little bit, and then there's another different reality that comes in.
So what I have been asking lately And it just channeled through me. I may have shared this in the group. I'm not sure. It's like, teach me how to forget what I think I know and remember what it is I have forgotten. And then when I channeled that prayer in my prayers, and I'm like, you catch it. It's just like, did I just ask for that? And I'm like, oh my God, what did I just ask for? What does that mean? And I went into it a little bit deeper, and I reduced the fear level that I had asked for something wrong. And I went into the bigness of what that meant for me. It's like, yeah, like my agenda of how I see, you could say, or my belief level of how I'm going to see, or whatever it is. For a good example, it's like, it can be far greater than what I think it is. And allowing myself to just have the experiences as they approach. And without that control of how I think it should be. Just like when we started this group today, I'm like, I'm feeling a nervous energy. And I can shut things down. I can go into my agenda of what that is. And it's like, wait a second, no, just step back. And it's like, okay, what's going on? And I'll roll with it one thing at a time.
She started that course, a neuro-linguistics course, and it's helping her to see, and a lot of things I've been teaching and talking to her about over the years, they're saying in a certain way in this, and she's like, oh, you do this, you do that. And I'm like, yeah, these are kinds of things that incorporate into the teachings and that. So she's able to compartmentalize and break it down more and sort of structure it in a way that makes her feel safe. And I think that's a really big part for people too, is like, how do I do this and still feel safe? It's like, okay, there's a ladder there, and if there's a missing rung, how do I go from this one up into the next one if this one's missing here? So in our journeys of spirituality, there's little blips here and there. It's like, how do I go from here across to here and still be safe and know I can go back? So all these things, and we create things, but most of it comes from childhood, because somewhere we didn't have an answer, or something put doubt or made us block things. And it's like, okay, this is the way I was as a child. Now, how can I recognize and release that and just sit in this energy that has always been with me? How can I really let it in and expand itself?
There's a lot on that one. That's the, moving on a little forwards. And it's like, find what crosses your path. And why did it cross my path? Just like, it felt like there was a space around me that it was like, okay, I'm comfortable right now, and I'm going to focus on this. And then Ian presented a thought, and I'm like, I knew there was something coming. I didn't know what it was. And then when Ian opened that door of thought, all these ideas start flowing through. And it's like, okay, there's a new train of energy moving through me now. And it's like, okay, I'm going to, follow whatever that one is presenting. And when different things cross your path, is where, let's say someone is around you and they're going through something and you're witnessing it. Why am I seeing this? Why am I seeing it the way that I'm seeing it? Why is this person revealing this storyline to me? And then this person has got a similar storyline. It's like the universe is, your angels, your guides, the energy that's all around you is communicating with you. And it is, it's like mirroring your answers, your questions that will take you now to that next stage, that next step. So recognizing that these events that are happening around you and crossing your path is not by accident, but they're all there to help you to, like, I don't know, step it up. Like that whole one, when you go up here, stay up here. And it's like, and then you can only just keep on going up higher and higher. And I feel like our environments are mirroring something that's happening within our energy fields.
Yeah, it's speeding up. It's getting more faster. Like Serena
Yes.
said, this energy came in and it's there. And so she saw this, she left the room and came back and it was still there. And I really like that, because the universe is responding faster because it wants people to wake up now, and it's finding different ways, and it's trying to come in and saying, well, do you really want to walk this path and do this to get into the future, or you want to do it in another lifetime? It's like, everybody gets that choice and everybody has to believe in something. Because if you're really, really accepting it, then you're going to carry energies and stuff that really is important to share with other people. That's why there's times I share really lots and I give as much things, because I may not come in contact with that person for a long time. So sometimes I will download really, really lots of stuff and the person's like confused and doesn't understand. And then I come across their past way later in life and they're like, everything has changed in their life and they recognize and understand it. So being that Muscapios is, like I say, when we're given a gift, we're just borrowing something from the universe. The universe is saying, here, I want to see what you want to do with this. So they give you a gift. You're just borrowing it. It's theirs. So you have this ability and gift and you use it in a really good way. All of a sudden they bless you with something more. All of a sudden this door opens. You're like, whoa, how am I doing this? There's something new here. And these things start streaming in. And I always say the universe gets happy because they see how people's lives change and how you're impacting people and how you're carrying this and presenting it. And, you know, when people reach out to you, you're doing something in a way that's benefiting them, but it's also doing something bigger inside you. Because, like I say, it's like if you were taught how to teach grade 1 students in the school, every time you went in there, you spent a year and you saw all these students graduate to move to grade 2, then you got a whole new set of students coming in to do grade 1 again. And you watch that, and every year you're happy to see them graduate to go to the next one. So abilities and gifts are something that we're just borrowing from the universe. It's allowing us to use an energy. It's allowing groups of angels and spirits to work with us. And it's like, how big do you want to go with it? How much, you know, because people are like, don't you feel burdened by this? Don't you feel this way and that? I'm like, they've given me visions. And I'm like, yes, I saw things. But until it actually happens inside me, it's just something I saw. And there are a lot of other people out there that have visions that are the same thing as mine. And they showed up in my life and told me these things. And I'm like, wow, the universe showed you the same thing that I was shown. So they're proving to me that these things were real because many other people have seen it. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to believe. So one day when this happens, I'm going to go, that's exactly what I was shown. And they have proven that to me. So it's not about me proving, it's about using what I can to help and hold space for others to be safe, to step into what they're here to do.
But you also have to feel some kind of blessings and excitement in order to keep going the journey, don't you?
Yeah. I mean, that's all a big part of it. If I didn't have these experiences, some of them is the energy. When I talk about it, all of a sudden I'm in that energy and I'm like all excited because the energy is still there. I'm still feeling that connection. And I know it's going to open up bigger. And lots of these little pieces are going to come together and they're going to become a whole. So it's like having many, many little batteries. And when you take all those little batteries and you put them together, you had a 2-volt battery. Now you got a 20-volt battery because now they all come together and that's a way bigger energy you're working with. So lots of these little pieces are scattered all over. I always tell people spirituality is like an Irish stew. So you're going to make a stew. You need corn, you need different vegetables, you need a whole bunch of things, water, and even a pot. And you start throwing things in and you cook it. At first, it's like, you know, just all kinds of stuff. But in the end, it's something very nice and people will enjoy and will fill them and make them feel good. So when you're studying spirituality and you go, oh, this is this, and you put it in a box and label it and you store it in this little box. And then you learn and experience something else and you go, oh, this is it. Now it's got its little cubby hole and box. And they all have their labels and they all different things. But somewhere when you remove all those labels and everything, it blends. It all becomes one thing. And you just move this way and you work with this. You move that way, you work with that. And you start seeing it all mixing like a stew. And you're going to really develop your own way of doing things. So you might have a whole bunch of practices, but if you let the universe teach you how, you're going to bring it all together and you're going to have your way of doing things. That's where knowledge and so many things are important. but it's important to let go of the labels and see how it blends for you. And all of a sudden you're able to do all kinds of things. And it's very mysterious. It's very, very, I don't know, exciting and beautiful.
That was nicely described, Joe. Thank you.
I remember when I was first initiated in Reiki, and I asked my Reiki master whether I can do Reiki while I'm doing the Silva method. She said, no, you have to do them separately. But I still did them together. And it actually helped me a lot to relax and to go deeper in Alpha and be able to do the Silva method better. So, and I was also able to see the Reiki energy with my internal eyes, like to visualize it, which I wasn't able to do before.
Exactly, and that's the way it works. You have to experiment and you have to try. And if you don't try, they can't teach you if you're not putting this piece and that piece together. Like I say, if you got 10 little batteries, why don't you put them all together and see when they become, like, instead of a 2-volt, become a 20-volt. Now you got that much more energy and things all mixed together, and see what it's really going to do. You know, you see this and you understand all of this, so why don't you tell me about this? And I'm like, how is it going to really serve you?
It's not. It's not.
Figure out today, you can't solve your little fear or your doubt or your whatever's, you know, going on with you today.
Yeah.
How is me opening the door to 10 years in your future? Because now you're only going to focus on that 10 years, and you're not going to learn anything. You're just going to keep going, oh, I'm going to manifest the healing center. Oh, I'm just going to be doing this. So you'll waste 10 years of your life, and it's like, and you still haven't solved your problem. So why do you want me to forecast something in your future or tell you about certain kinds of things if you're really not here today doing the work, figuring out, well, why am I so paranoid about this? Why am I so scared of prophecies? Why am I afraid of knowing there's going to be an earthquake? Why am I afraid of different kinds of things? What is it really serving you? How can I get up today and change my thoughts and beliefs and be happy and help other people and do things? And if they would do that, then the universe may start giving you glimpses of your future. All of a sudden you're like, whoa, this is going to happen in my life. Comes through, it's like, whoa, that was a beautiful, beautiful blessing. And they bring somebody along, somebody sitting there, and all of a sudden they start channeling and telling you stuff, and you're like, whoa, that's really cool. Hey, this is coming in my future. Isn't that really wonderful? So maybe I'm doing something really good today, and the universe is like, here's a present, here's some gifts, here's some things, here's some awareness. So how is it going to benefit you knowing so many things in the future if today these little tiny things are not worked with or changed, or you're not growing or reaching out trying to find it? So that's a really big one with people. A lot of people, they hear about me and they hear about my clearings, and they come and they're like, oh, I want a reading. I'm like, this is not a reading. What I'm going to do is I'm going to remove a whole bunch of stuff. It's like there's all this stuff around you that needs to get out of here so this new stuff can come in. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to channel, I'm going to, whatever is going to go on, I won't know until it's done. And I'm not sure what I'm even going to tell you. All I'm going to do is call in the spirits, and we're going to start doing stuff. And in the end, something is going to change your life. And they're like, yeah, you know, go see this guy, and he's going to do a reading. And I'm like, don't say I'm doing a reading, because it's really not that. There's an energy, there's something you're believing. And
yeah, that's it.
If you really believe in certain kinds of things, and it's going to transform you, because this energy is waiting for you here, and it's been waiting and it's trying to find a way to get into your life. So the universe said, oh, see this weird little blue-eyed Indian guy over here, and he might be able to do something. And it's not a reading. It does something really, really magical, and it's through them that things like that happen. I always say they do everything, not me. I'm just a vessel. I enjoy being a vessel. I love seeing people's lives transform. I love seeing people years later on their path. All the amazing, wonderful things. And everybody needs to be gifts. I can't be the only one on the planet doing this. And it's like, I want more people like me out there doing all these kinds of magical things.
But there's something about the belief and believing in it. Believing in what is the good question, though, that what Joe is doing, what the spirits are doing through Joe for you, that you're believing that there's a transformative energy that's happening within you and around you and can mirror in your life experience. People don't know that that is up to them to check in with their belief, if it's real or if it's, like where they stand in it. And we find that the people that just want a reading, they have a lot of doors closed, and they don't have, it seems like they don't have the belief that's strong enough to believe that their lives can change.
Those kind of people, they want to force me to agree to something or tell them something that they only want to hear. And some of them have gone to many, many other people. I'm like, why did you come to me? Because I'm going to tell you exactly what all these other people told you. And it's not going to be really any different. It's just in my way of wording it. And there's something here. And I used to have a lot of people like this. And when I lived in Edmonton, they would go to psychics and spiritual people and ask all kinds of stuff about their future. And after they heard about 5-10 times, they're like, well, go to Joe because Joe sees things and we'll see what he says. And so I'll give them back the same information they received from many others. And I'm like, this is all I see. Then it would come true and then it would come back and you were right. And I'm like, yeah, but you already asked 5 people before me. So go and tell them they were right too. So sometimes people do these kinds of things. And I'm like, I'm just going to ask to bring through what is important for you, what needs to change or what you need to receive. And I'll bring that through. And if you're really accepting, it's going to do many wonderful things. That's why even with the smudge prayers, I call in the spirits, welcome to fill your home, ask the Earth Mother to fill your home, because they have all that knowledge. They know everything about you and they want to be with you. So the more you welcome that, and then put a safety bubble around everybody. So if they're not ready to step into the next change, that they're safe. So when they're ready, they'll move into it. So in those prayers, it's like everybody's protected and you can be in the biggest energy and it could be 50 people around you. Then they're in their own bubble, just happy. If they want to stay asleep, they're going to stay asleep because that's where their soul wants to be. So everybody's in a good energy and it's not pushing and forcing and doing things, and you can be happy in your truth.